enjoy her perspective on the harbor. She'll take a break about halfway through, wander around, take questions, but all the crew are narrators, so they're fair game for questioning while we're underway. And with that, turn you over to Kiki again. Welcome aboard.
All right, we're good. Hello, everyone. I'm not supposed to be this close to it, apparently. Welcome aboard. It's nice to see you guys all here. I'm down on the second deck still, so if you're up at the top, I apologize. You can only hear me and not see me. I may wander up to the top in a little bit, but down here on the second deck right now, I'm excited to spend the next hour with you guys. We're going to be doing a loop around the bay, come back in an hour. I'll be pointing out the sights, like Captain Charlie said. A lot will be off of the starboard or the right side of the boat. I'm just going to kind of hang out here so I'm out of your guys' way for the most part. But I'm going to point out sites as we go, tell you about history of Seattle, try and make some recommendations and suggestions for things to do while you guys are here in town. I'll probably make a few bad jokes, and we're going to have a good time, so I'm excited to be here. Let's see, let me tell you just a quick little something about myself besides my name, Kiki. I'm also a single mom. I have 2 young kids at home, and I grew up and currently live a little over an hour north of here. But I drive down here every day because I just love working on the water and sharing it with you guys. When I started working here, though, I realized I wasn't a local. But pretty quickly, it was apparent that I'm not a Seattle local. I do things that locals don't, like I use an umbrella when it rains. I also wait for the crosswalk before I cross the street. And when I'm not at work, I'm not dressed like I might go on a hike any moment. So I'm not exactly like a Seattle local, but I'm curious, do we have any locals on board? Nobody willing to admit it after I made fun of you. Okay, that's perfect. Let's see, anybody raise your hand or give me a holler if it's your very first time to Seattle?
Yeah.
Oh, most people. All right, fantastic. Well, I'll jump right into it with things to do. Starting with off that right or starboard side of our boat is that big green pier. That's the Seattle Aquarium. Now, it's not as big as a lot of other aquariums. That's because they base a lot of what they do on research and conservation efforts. So it's smaller, but what's really cool about it is that everything there is local to these waters. So a lot of people come on the tour, want to know if you're going to see wildlife. I can't guarantee it. We'll probably see some sea lions on the second half of the tour, definitely lots of birds. But if you want a guaranteed way to see our local wildlife, the aquarium is the place to go. They also have a really cool interactive tide pool, like touch tank. So you can actually get your hands on a sea slug and a sea cucumber and a sea star and actually feel how like wet and squishy and prickly they are. It's pretty cool. Another place you definitely have to check out while you're here in town is Pike Place Market. Now I'll kind of point it out to you guys, but it's a little tricky to see from the water. It's about halfway up that group of buildings. You might see a building that has a woman's face painted on it when you're looking off that starboard side. That's kind of the back side of Pike Place Market. Like I said, it doesn't really look very good here from the water, but you gotta check it out. Has anybody already been to Pike Place? About half of the people down here. All right. Excellent. So the market started well over 100 years ago. There was a group of local farmers that wanted to sell directly to the consumer, so they started their own open air market, sold out within minutes on the very first day. They knew they were onto something. So it's really grown since then. It's actually about 100 local farmers now and over 200 artists. It's also 5 floors. So if you guys went and you only walked on the street level, you missed like 80% of it. So you gotta go back, walk around, find some really cool souvenir shops, restaurants, really unique places in there for sure. It's a great place to go. Speaking of unique things there in the Pike Place Market, there's an entire alleyway that's covered in people's chewing gum. Did anybody go check this out? The gum wall. A couple people. All right, for those of you that went and visited, did you put your gum on the wall? Nobody was willing to. I didn't say take it off. Like, you can put your own gum on the wall, right? This tradition actually started in the 90s, and if you're not sure what I'm talking about, literally picture an alleyway covered in people's chewing gum. You'll picture it. That's exactly what it is. And yes, it is extremely gross. But it's also really cool. It's really unique, something that we have here. As I mentioned, it started as a, like people started doing it in the 90s, and then it just kind of caught on. Before they went into the theater, they didn't want to put their gum under their seat, so they stuck it to the wall. More and more people kept doing it. It grew as this tradition over the last few years. There's like 150 pieces on every brick. So it is really, really gross. It's actually the second germiest tourist attraction in the world. The Blarney Stone is number 1. So we're just behind them, but yeah, so it is gross, but you gotta check it out. Now all of these colorful buildings we're passing on our starboard side, this is actually our cruise ship terminal. Seattle does a lot of cruises, except we only operate half of the year. So we're actually in the top 10 for the entire country for how many cruise ships we have leaving Seattle, but we only do cruises half of the year, like mid-April to mid-October. And that's because almost all of our cruise ships head up to Alaska. Turns out people don't want to go to Alaska in the winter, even if they're on a cruise ship. So we wait for better weather, longer days, all of that. We are at the end of our cruise ship season now, which is why there's not a cruise ship since it's November.